Oh boy.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Welcome to Viral Twist. A man in a Mustang drove a little wild, turning fast, stopping suddenly, even going backward on the road. Police followed him slowly and stopped him without any big trouble.
This vehicle is flying. It is just making me nervous watching these maneuvers, just erratically going in and out of lanes. These cars down below obviously have no idea what's going on, and they could easily merge into a lane, and before you know it, things can go really wrong really quickly.
But look at these speeds, 80, almost 90 miles an hour in the emergency lane. You're passing these cars like they're passing picket fences, and continuing on. If any of these, if there's a problem in the roadway, a blockage is gonna have to come to a stop. Haven't seen this vehicle make contact with any other cars, which is a very good thing. But right now, continuing on right there, you can see, I think that's even a Bentley, and he's continuing on, getting back into that far right lane. That seems to be his little key, his little getaway card. But right now, he's not getting away from the LAPD. The helicopter's making the calls. We are hearing it. They're talking about re-engaging that pursuit, but they've got to get units in position. They've got to call ahead, make sure there's somebody that might be nearby. Was another close one right there. Looks like people are kind of leaning off to the right. And, you know, that was an off-ramp right back over, and now it's continuing on. I guess we're taking an off-ramp, so that, I mean, that's a good thing for us because we're making our way into LAX's airspace.
He's going carte blanche on these lanes right now, and so he just got off at an exit. There he is again.
Back on.
Right. It doesn't seem to really matter what lane he's in. He was just narrowly missing a lot of those cars. He's driving a Mustang, so obviously big engine there. Now he just came to a full stop in the middle of the road, and he's going in reverse.
Changed his mind. Yeah. Change his mind in reverse on this on-ramp right there. Other cars, I mean, they're like that guy in that black car is probably like, what is going on here? In kind of stopping. Looks like we're going to do a three-point turn. You know, that used to be on the driving test. They're going to see where he pops out. There he goes. And now we're going to be on surface streets. You know, there is an opportunity to get back onto the, there's what I thought he was going to do. Getting back onto the 405. Not really sure what the plan is here, and most likely that driver has no plan, but it's back onto that 405 freeway. Now we're going to be heading northbound on that 405. Whoop, whoop. See, that's Roxy was just talking about that, I think. And these are those type of maneuvers. It could be so tragic for any of these vehicles involved. Even that driver of that the suspect in this vehicle trying to get away. And get away from what? Right now it's the helicopters above them. These maneuvers, they're not changing anything, and it's really truly just putting the public at risk. If the LAPD had a vehicle behind it, this is not a commentary, this isn't anything like that, maybe there'd be some lights and sirens. But even with this kind of reckless driving, LAPD would, even trained drivers would have a difficulty keeping up safely, and that's what the law enforcement has to do. Right now the helicopter's making calls, everybody's keeping an eye on it. Looks like we're getting back oh wait a minute, is it a transition or an off-ramp? Looks like we're going to be getting off the freeway once again. Maybe he's looking for something out here in the West LA area, but this one is going to be tight right there. He's kind of stuck, and this is one of those opportunities where if law enforcement, there they are, hello. You know, they might have been able to do a hard pit right there, even with a lot of other vehicles in the way. Maybe that would have brought this to an end. Right now, though, we're going to wait and see where he pops out. There he is. And now it is a full-on pursuit. You got the LAPD in the air and on the ground. And, of course, the driving not getting any better, but at least law enforcement is there. Lights and sirens might be able to warn the public.
Looks like he's getting back on an on-ramp yet again. Stu, you said this was a possible kidnapping suspect. Do we know if he's the only person in the car? Were you able to zoom in and see when he was on the surface streets?
Yeah, it's funny. We were just talking about really tinted windows. It looks like there is a passenger. I would venture to say there is a passenger right there. That's we can use the digital doubler, but you know, maybe it was shadows, but it definitely looked like there is somebody in the passenger seat. And you know, now you know, I'm just repeating what they're saying. Was everything can change when it comes to when everything's said and done. But now we're hearing possible domestic violence victim inside that vehicle. So it's constantly changing, very fluid. But right now, what I can tell you, very erratic driving, and in traffic. Now we're picking up the 90, so we're going to be heading out towards Marina Del Rey. Ray.
Yeah, that's
this is
right.
a short little hop of a, yeah, it's a short little hop.
Sentinella, he should be approaching
it's kind of
Sentinella.
wide open.
Yeah. I know exactly where that is.
What's he doing
That's
now?
a pretty wide area with typically not a lot of traffic on that stretch of the road. But yeah, Sentinella will be coming up fairly shortly, and we'll see what he does here. But it looks like, you know, as we were saying, he seems to be moving in and out of these lanes, emergency lanes, on ramps, off ramps, just kind of using the road as carte blanche right now and going very, very fast.
Stu, I know the way we are right now. Again, a reverse.
Yeah, he's getting pinched. He really does not want to make any stops whatsoever on this road.
Well,
or any
now
of these
there's
roads.
some traffic. Like, you have no choice at this point, so you
Always
can either
a Prius.
look at that.
Yeah. And I don't know what this is all about, but this, you know, I'm going to stay a little bit. I'm going to stay a little bit wider because, like I said, the driver might be very emotional. I don't want to see any kind of situation where it might be, you know, suicide by officer or some kind of situation like that. Clearly, that driver not in a solid, you know, state right now. So, going to stay a little bit wider. I'm going to take a peek real quick, but then I'm going to go wide again. But just to see what that driver's doing, if we can see him through that front windscreen. But coming to a stop like that with the officer in this type of confrontation, I'm going to stay careful with the video so we don't see anything. Or
well, Stu, and then do you notice
if we're
there's
a little bit wider if something does unfold?
There's a civilian vehicle, and it looks like officers just got that individual out of the car, obviously for their own safety. That just kind of got trapped in the back there. There's that gentleman, an innocent civilian, a bystander who got caught up in all of this, right behind that vehicle.
It seems like they do have that stretch of the off-ramp blocked off, and I suppose the good news here is that that particular stretch of road is yeah, look at all that. Wow. Okay, so there is some traffic behind there, and they do have it blocked off, but where it's situated is it's actually in an industrial part of Marina del Rey, but Mindanao Way is certainly a pretty big thoroughfare as he's out of the car right now and gesturing toward police. You know, confrontational body language there.
Oftentimes we talk about the fact that domestic violent calls, when it comes to officers, is the most dangerous call they get because people have high emotions. At times they feel as though they have nothing to lose.
Beanbag them.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Oh boy.